Here we go. What is going on, Cover One crew? Welcome back to the show. Hope everybody is good. You know, I'm not going to start this show talking about Patrick Mahomes and his sideline meltdown and post-game disrespected Josh Allen, because for the first time in his NFL career, he didn't get something to go his way referee-wise. I didn't just do that, man. Go Bills. We're going to move on anyway, man. Week number 15, playoff help, must add players. Okay, we made it, man. It is first round of the fantasy football playoffs. All y'all that are still in there, I'm riding with y'all. I'm in a load of playoffs as well. We got to get those trophies. Follow me. I will definitely get you there. There still is some players we can discuss on this wire that could potentially help us and aid in these playoff victories. Let's talk about these running backs. Tai Chandler, first one on the board. Priority waiver wire pickup because of the injury to Alexander Mattison. Big ups right now for Tai Chandler. Yes, this offense only put up, 3 points this past week? It was not good. Josh Dobbs goes to the bench. So, temper the expectations on top-end point productivity as well. JJ goes down with the injury once again. He should be day-to-day at this point for what I'm hearing. He could be able to suit up this week's contest, but Tai Chandler would get a bump in volume upside. No kidding if M. Madison does sit this week. From the early reports, what I'm gathering right now is that he could potentially miss this week. It is a big problem for him. But Tai Chandler's definitely for volume upside key, 23% ownership rate. He will take the bulk load of carries from that backfield. Similarly to those Las Vegas Raiders, same contest, they lost Josh Jacobs as well to an apparent knee or calf injury. So we got to watch out for that as well. There is potential he will miss this week, and that means Zamir Zeus White would likely get the uptick in volume upside. But we got to understand that Amir Abdullah also is a big part of this offense, and they would do a rotational set in this backfield. Yes, it's not great with Aiden O'Connell. Yes, this offense did look piss poor this past week. But again, if we're struggling to replace our running backs, if you lost a B-Rob, we still don't have word on him just yet. There is issues. Ramondre, is he coming back or not? So if you're in the playoffs and you're struggling with running backs, there is key volume upside plays we can do this week. Zamir, 1.3 ownership right now. He still should be on that wire, obviously, in every single league. But if you miss out on Zamir, I don't mind Amir Abdullah. I think that he will be good in that PPR game. He is the speed back, change of pace back. Even though Zamir White, I'm a huge fan, always have been, going back to his UGA days at Georgia with the Bulldogs. He's a quality running back, just hasn't been given a fair shake in the NFL just yet, so we'll see what he can do. Amir Abdullah, if you do miss out on a Zamir, is a definite potential plug-and-play this week with PPR upside. Jerick McKinnon, next one on the board, 37% ownership, 57.2 points on the season. Found his way into the end zone, got you just about the 10-point threshold in half PPR leagues this past week. They're going to utilize him depending on how banged up Isaiah Pacheco's shoulder is. It's a contusion from what I'm hearing, but McKinnon's going to be one of these guys that should be leaned upon more heavily as this Kansas City Chiefs offense does continue to fight for the playoff spot, losing 4 out of the last 6 contests. They got to change something. Obviously, the wide receiver room is not cutting it, man. If Andy Reid was intelligent, which he is, he would go back to a Jerick McKinnon and try to utilize him in the pass game. There is potential for McKinnon to still be that guy, especially if Pacheco does miss another week. 37%. Get him on your rosters today, man. Antonio Gibson, the other Gibby. Okay, we don't know anything on B-Rob right now. I got nothing for y'all, man. I've been searching, I've been looking, and there's nothing on B-Rob. They're being super tight-lipped on this one. He exited the last contest and did not return, and then they had the bye week. So we won't find out anything till likely later on in the day. But Gibby is a priority waiver wire pickup just in case B-Rob cannot go. He will get the PPR work, he will get the volume, and they will split touches with Chris Rodriguez, who is on the bottom of my list. I'll get to him in a minute, but Gibby would be the, defaulted one that we would look to for at least volume upside and target upside in this Washington Commanders, the Commies offense. Gibby is definitely a priority pickup this week. Chase Brown, what I tell y'all, baby, go back to my scouting reports. They are down there, man. If you guys want to see what I was talking about, these rookies coming into the league, Chase Brown is a good one, man. You saw the wheels that he does possess. He's a very physical running back as well. And now it's interesting to see without a Joey B, they're actually making the offense that much more tailored to a Jake Browning. So you do got to like the fact that Chase Brown's role is going to continue to increase as they move forward. This is not the detriment to a Joe Mixon either. Chandler, which is also big positive. So I do believe the way that this is shaping up, they're kind of moving into that, a little bit more run heavy, set up the play action pass. Hopefully Jamar Chase can take it over the top. So this is a good situation. If you're really struggling for a running back, Chase does have some big time appeal. You saw what he was able to do on that screen pass. Kid's got electric wheels, and he can find the house at any given moment. Definitely if you're struggling, even in 12-man leagues, 14-team and 6-team, if Chase is there, you snag this man. In 12-team leagues, if you're really struggling for running backs and potential upside, Chase Brown is definitely one. Little bit of a high risk, high reward, but he's definitely one that I'm starting to like more and more. Keaton Mitchell, he's fallen down my board just a little bit, 46% ownership, but he still is viable. The only issue is here that this offense in Baltimore seemingly has figured out the pass game, which will subside in the run game. So it's one of these things. Mitchell's got home run ability for days. It's just not enough usage, not enough point productivity. He's getting you 8 to 10 points, which is a good floor, at least in that respect. So, I mean, you could do a lot worse than 8 to 10 points. But we're still waiting for those touchdown upsides to come back like he did when he broke out the gates. But Mitchell is still fantasy viable in a Baltimore Ravens offense that is figuring out the pass game, which is going to only help the run game that much more. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, depending on, like I said, Isaiah Pacheco. I was in on McKinnon over Clyde Edwards-Helaire with the advice I was giving everybody in Start Sit last week. I still am in that regard as well. Clyde Edwards will get his sprinkles of touches, but McKinnon is going to be that guy. He is the PPR guy as well, so I'm McKinnon over Helaire. If you miss out on any of these running backs, depending on Pacheco's health, Edwards-Helaire will at least give you those 8 to 10 touches in that contest. Deontay Foreman still back on the board, three-headed monster in Chicago. We can't trust Roschon for anything that he's going to give us because he's not giving us anything. You still got Khalil Herbert, and then Foreman maybe 7 to 10 points as well, floor of about 5. So, I mean, it's not good outside of finding an end zone. They really are trying to figure out what they got into Justin Fields right now. Will they draft a Caleb Williams in the upcoming draft? That's exactly what they're looking for. So who's going to be the running back? It's hard to trust because they're going to try to pass and run a lot with a Justin Fields, man. Miles Sanders finds his way back on the board. Very difficult to trust because this offense is extremely anemic with a Bryce Young. It's looked so bad this year. I'm not out on Bryce Young just yet. It's a rookie season, terrible team, coaching changes. It's tough on a young man. Sanders, I mean, again, it's like only if you're in full desperation mode in 12-team leagues would I be looking to a Sanders. Kenny Gainwell, likewise with that. Only a handcuff at this point, change of pace back, and a Chris Rodriguez for those commies. If B-Rob does sit, Rodriguez would get instant TD and goal line upside for y'all as well, so definitely watch out for updates on B-Rob. Quarterback streaming time. If you guys streaming quarterbacks going into the playoffs and you made it, good for you. That is no easy task, man. It's a weekly headache. This week, you got some good matchups, man. Matthew Stafford playing like he's 25 years old again. That pass he threw to Cooper Kupp in the end zone on that corner fade, unbelievably elite. What a throw that was. That's vintage Matthew Stafford going back to Detroit days. 44% ownership rate. He's going up against those commies who absolutely hemorrhage points to the secondary. So I would definitely pick up a Stafford if you've been streaming quarterbacks. He should still be there in majority of leagues, half of leagues just over, and he will absolutely continue this grind. Because with Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, and Kyron Williams, this offense is definitely moving in the right direction. Jake Browning, he got his, Joey B, man. Props to Joey B, giving the family for the Browning family his suite to watch the contest, man. I love stuff like that, man. That totally shows a great team player, and Browning is paying it back on the field, man. 74.5 points taken on these Minnesota Vikings this week. Their chances of playoff hopes are still alive with Browning, and I mean, they're looking good. They're looking good enough. They've simplified the offense. Zach Taylor got to give him some props and flowers because they have simplified the offense enough for Browning to be successful. He's not been horrible. He's mobile. He's got a decent enough arm to at least spread the ball to his wide receivers, and with guys like Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, they're not out of any contest as long as the run game continues to move the way they're going. So I don't hate Browning this week against a, pretty difficult Minnesota Vikings defense. They will give him fits, but I mean, I think the floor is definitely there from 13 to 17 points for a Jake Browning this week. Baker Mayfield, a big show. 50% ownership, man. I mean, going up against these Packers, we saw what Tommy DeVito did. DeVito, the Mafia, man. He's, the boss, man. I think that Mayfield is absolutely viable. You're going to have to, take your lumps with him during the contest, but he's viable once again this week versus the Packers defense. That does give up some points to quarterbacks, and, as long as Jaire Alexander is not playing, it's a big positive. So, as they continue to fight Tampa Bay for their playoff lives, Mayfield is still a viable option versus the Packers. Joe Flacco turning back the clock, man, 40-some years old, and he's playing ball. He's not that old, but, he's playing ball, and he's taking on the Chicago Bears with these Cleveland Brownies. Like I said, man, I really do believe that the Browns defense, yes, they've seen stumble these past several weeks, but the way the Browns defense can get the ball back to the offense, and Joe Flacco still showing that he can throw the football and sling it in this league, and the way the run game's going, he's absolutely turned into a decent fantasy option. Almost 40 points in the two contests, been named the starter for the team moving forward. Versus the Chicago Bears defense that has been improving, Joe Flacco should absolutely still get you those 17 points you require. Will Levis back on the board. He did the Buffalo Bills a big favor and huge comeback. It's a crazy stat, man. First time in 760-some games, a team with a 14-point lead with 3 minutes left loses. First time in NFL history in 3 minutes. Unbelievable. Will Levis, he's got that cannon of an arm. Maybe he's starting to figure it out a little bit, and this is kind of what we want to see. You cannot teach a cannon of an arm like that with Will Levis, and that's exactly why the Titans drafted the man. You got to hope you can round out the rest of his game. He's showing a little Josh Allen force on the field on those runs. Don't do that, man, because it looked like you got no interest in living when you're taking on linebackers. Don't do that, Will, but he is back on the radar versus Houston Texans, who were just gashed by a Zach Wilson, so there is potential upside here as well if you are in deeper leagues. Derek Carr, there is a problem. If Derek Carr is the quarterback on your waiver wire right now, the top quarterback, there's a problem because he's not going to give you the top-end points. Yes, his past week did look a lot better without a Taysom Hill. No more vulturing touchdowns. If Taysom does come back, I'm downgrading Carr just a little bit more. But versus the New York Giants, who do also give up a lot of yards, we saw what Jordan Love was able to do against them defensively. Derek Carr should be able to move this ball around in New Orleans as well, so it is a home game. Don't hate that whatsoever. And then Tommy DeVito put up, the Mafia fingers up. He's playing well. What can you say? I actually like the kid. He's moving the ball. He's changed every aspect in the New York Giants locker room. 20-plus points, man. You can't fade that whatsoever. He's got Wan'Dale Robinson looking like a star, and Saquon Barkley is starting to run the football extremely well without stacked boxes. DeVito's definitely on the radar this week, going up against those New Orleans Saints, man. Wide receiver time. It is getting picked clean. Who can we trust? This is the biggest problem. Right now, there isn't a whole heck of a lot. Jaden Reed, 54% ownership, likely gone in most of your leagues. But if he is there, 54%, 133 points. Are you continuously using him on the jet sweep? He is the slot dynamo, and he is turning into the favorite target for a Jordan Love. So if he is there, he's giving you touchdown upside, he's giving you rushing upside and PPR upside. You got to get Jaden Reed on your roster. He is an easy flex play, low-end wide receiver to play at this point. He is doing the business for us. He's likely gone, but if he's there, absolutely scoop him up, man. Curtis Samuel, on the other hand, he's been doing the business. PPR upside, safe floor is absolutely there. 38% ownership rate, and the way that the commies are going, their season is likely over, but Sam Howell continues to sling the ball. Coming off the bye week, they should be rested and ready for this one. Samuel should continue to have the role. Eric Bieniemy loves this man on the PPR upside, so absolutely flex play for a Samuel this week. OBJ back on the radar. Revenge game paid out very well. Can't believe I missed that one on start sit, man. It was revenge game for OBJ. My apologies, man. I would have definitely put that in there as the risk rank, but can we trust it? This is the thing. Are they going to continue to pass and move forward in this direction? I do believe so. They wanted to make this more explosive. They want to be multidimensional. They want to be able to attack in every direction. It's just going to be hit and miss, man. Zay Flowers hit. OBJ hit this past week. There is no Mark Andrews, but Isaiah Likely hit. So, there is potential here where Lamar is supporting multiple pieces. OBJ definitely a flex option once again this week. Josh Downs, we're down for Downs, but he's not down for us. He's been struggling, man. The last 4 weeks, it's been a problem. So definitely on the notable, 53% on the ownership rate right now. I'm still a huge fan. It's just ever since the knee injury, something's tapered off. The target share isn't there as Minshew continues to force feed a Michael Pittman. All he needs is one breakout game, and they'll go back to him. So one of these games, it's going to happen. But can we trust it in the playoffs? That's the biggest problem. You got to go straight matchup upside here for Downs. If he's playing a good matchup, then we can talk and discuss. Noah Brown, 45% ownership rate. Okay, no Tank Dell. Nico Collins goes down with the injury. Noah Brown would get an instant uptick to be a wide receiver one, even though he's dealing with the knee injury. You do got a plethora of wide receivers in Xavier Hutchinson, Robert Woods, Bobby Trees, and a John Mechie to deal with as well. But the biggest problem is what is going to happen with CJ Stroud. If CJ Stroud does not play in this contest due to that concussion, his head bounced off the MetLife turf, not good. I think I would fade most Houston Texans this week without a CJ Stroud because we've seen the Davis Mills show, and it is not necessarily the best. Elijah Moore, okay, up and down, up and down. We know Flacco's going to just find the open man at this point, but again, flex appeal on matchup upside is here. They got a decent matchup this week, and there is potential that Eli does get a lot of PPR work this week with Joe Flacco, so I do not hate it. 45% ownership. He is definitely a flex option appeal for me. Parker Washington or a Zay Jones. Surprisingly enough, T-Law actually did suit up on that bum ankle. Don't know what the hell they shot up in that ankle, but he played extremely good and extremely poor at the same time, throwing picks early on, then absolutely coming back and throwing touchdowns. Parker is going to take over likely more of the share of the Christian Kirk role at this point, as we saw last week and the week before, so I don't hate the pickup. It is going to be very much hit and miss at this point between Washington and Zay Jones, so we'll see. I mean, pick your poison for me. Zay Jones does have TD upside where Parker Washington would give you the floor of a PPR upside play, so definitely pick your poison, whatever matchup you're looking for in that respect. Notable additions to move forward with if you're benching, stashing these guys for moving forward. Jamison Williams, Josh Palmer, our guys. While JMO is, the epitome of hit, boomer bust, I mean, it's so difficult to trust. I'm still waiting for him. So he's not necessarily viable this week either. We can't necessarily trust it. Likewise with a Josh Palmer, now that Justin Herbert is down and out, not going to suit up this week as well. We got Stick throwing the football. It's going to be tough sledding, even if they do open up the 21-day window for Palmer. He's just on the notable list as well, potentially for the semifinals and the finals if a Herbert does return and come back. Jonathan Mingo, the only upside here is that he saw 9 targets this past week. That's the only reason why he's on my list. You can't necessarily trust it. He caught only 2 of those passes. Bryce Young's not looking good. This offense is in complete disarray, like I'm saying. It's a big problem. So 9 targets, there is upside there, but I mean, can you really trust it in the first round of the playoffs? I cannot. Notable addition. Just keep your eyes on that, man. And Michael Thomas, for all y'all that believe you're going to be winning this week in the first round or have a bye week, Michael Thomas definitely needs to be picked up at this point. His 21-day window should be opening up very soon, and that PPR floor was always good, man. 9 to 10 points. You can't hate that for your flex. I love it all day long. Tight end time, Isaiah Likely. How this man wasn't over 50%, 60% owned. He had a great contest, man. Get this man on your roster. He's taking the Mark Andrews role. He's got speed. He's got hands, and they will continue to utilize him in this contest, man. He could, 16 points, 15 points. That's not going to happen every single week, but he's going to give you anywhere from 7 to 16 each and every week if he does not do a David Njoku 2-touchdown contest. I'm telling y'all, Njoku's going to be one of these safe options because we know what Mark Andrews does in this offense. Isaiah Likely's going to do the same. And Tucker Kraft, I told y'all last week, he's starting to turn my head, and he's doing very well at it. 6.1% owned. He's got the good, tight end appeal where his floor is becoming and creeping up to be that much safer with a Jordan Love. I do believe he is a little touch better than a Luke Musgrave overall as a tight end prospect, where Musgrave could be better in the, explosive play ability, touchdown ability, run after the catch. Kraft, to me, is the more put together, well-rounded tight end where he's better at blocking and he can absolutely get open and make plays for you. So Tucker Kraft this week absolutely is on my radar to have that safe floor if you're looking for tight ends. Brevin Jordan, as long as Dalton Schultz continues to be out, but I mean, again, I'm going to downgrade him if a CJ Stroud, is not going to suit up in this contest. So definitely watch the injury report for that. I would fade a Brevin Jordan if Stroud does not play because Davis Mills, I am not a big fan of. Hudson from the Cincinnati Bengals, like I said as well, like a Tucker Kraft, he is starting to pick up steam, being more utilized. You're looking for younger, youthful quarterbacks that don't have a lot of game experience. They're going to be look into the safety blanket, and Hudson has produced. He has taken every opportunity. So now he's scoring touchdowns, found his way into the end zone this past week, and the way that they run the football, do the play action pass, Hudson's role is not going nowhere, man. So definitely he is on my radar. Dawson Knox comes back from injury. We got Dalton Kincaid dealing with a shoulder issue. He should be good to go this week, so definitely watch the injury report. But Dawson Knox should have some sprinkles of targets as well. Definitely a red zone upside play. Also, high risk, high reward. But the Buffalo Bills, as they continue to move forward, they will utilize Dawson Knox in those 12-man personnel groupings, and he will have a role. No kidding about that. Logan Thomas with the commies. I've kind of faded him these past several weeks, even going after the bye, so he's a little bit more difficult to trust as Sam Howell continues to spread the ball to everybody. There's just no key in on one guy. He's spreading it around to everybody, so Logan Thomas for me is kind of that mid-range risk play. Once again, he does possess TD upside when they're in the red zone, but it is difficult to trust at this point. Michael Mayer, Gerald Everett, Cade Otton, last three on my board. Pick your poison on those. It's going to be very difficult. Mayer may have some TD upside, but the way Aiden O'Connell's playing, don't like that. Gerald Everett without a Justin Herbert is not necessarily the best situation. And Cade Otton, I mean, it's a complete hit or miss every single week, whether or not this man's going to find the end zone. But there you have it. That is round one, week number 15 of the fantasy football playoffs. You got to love it, man. We're in it. Let's go get these trophies. I'm not leaving without some trophies this year again. Hopefully, I can get you guys some support to get your trophies on your shelves as well. But nevertheless, as always, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, jump in those comments, give me your thoughts, and we'll see you next time. I am out.